Hey everyone, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn Radio, Google Play. You get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our patrons, Demon Hunter 2, Aggie Jedi Master, Electric Water Boy. He's in the chat room, by the way. Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, Cashley, One Kind Word, Ravenclaw Tia, Shermanator 18, Butterfly Girl, Loon Trackers, the Aussie Geocacher, the Geo Gearheads, Sodak Zach, and you never know where Sodak is tonight. Maybe he'll join us sometime in the chat room or somewhere. The Deadliest Cachers, Terrell 2, Neil Moore, Molly the Geocaching Dog, Team D&D, Geocaching Adam, Peachy 1276, the No Code Geocachers, Curiosity Girl, Tick Magnet, he's also in the chat room tonight, Marsipanic, Bricker John, Fire Safe, Doc Firewoman, F.S. Sabero, Geo Rick, Cash Addict Mel, Geocaching Janji, the Geocaching Junkie, Sir Drumalot, Genice, Tricashius, also in the chat room tonight, Tom Frey, and Rugels. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins, other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Well, let me start by welcoming the co-hosts, Sydney.
Hello, everybody.
And Jesse.
Good evening.
We're going to jump right in. We got a lot tonight. We have a lot every night, but this one is going to be packed tonight. So we're going to jump right into show 69 for October 1st as we talk virtuals and guidelines in not that order. We're going to do guidelines first, and then we'll talk about virtuals. A few reminders. Sydney, why don't you tell us about the first one?
So International Earth Cache Weekend now is next weekend, October 7th and 8th. So if you find and log an Earth Cache on one of those days, you get a shiny souvenir.
Shiny souvenir. Shiny souvenir. That's a tongue twister. And as Susan likes to say, they're the best because you don't have to dust them. All right. And then coins are still for sale. We're coming about to the close of this. I think this may be the last week because we're starting to get down to a lower amount. So $17 US, $23 international. There's the coin.
Upside down.
Upside down again.
The upside down. I'm so sorry. Let me do it again. There we go.
There you go.
There's the cool coin. And then I don't show the back very often. You can look at the back one. There it is. Yeah, cool looking. Whoa.
What's you giving out the code?
It's good. That's okay. It's I got it logged, so nobody can. There you go. There, I blocked the code.
You can't see it from that far away anyway.
No.
Really.
I mean, if they're really looking that closely, then they need, All right, that's the back of it. That's really cool. I love
That's a very nice coin.
Look how thick that thing is. That's a nice, solid coin. Anyway, you can buy them off the website. Just go to the bottom of the front page on geocachetalk.com, and it will give you the details to purchase the coins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Next is Mary Hyde Trackable is in the news.
The rewards. Did y'all get yours?
I did. I haven't done anything with it, though. I don't know what to do with it.
No.
I guess you're not supposed to keep them, are you? You're supposed to send them out into the world.
No, it's just a code.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a digital code. It didn't come on a tag or anything, so you could put it on pretty much anything.
True. Are you gonna do something with what you can do with yours, Jesse?
I don't know. I did actually activate it. But just so I wouldn't forget or it didn't time out. I didn't know if it was going to time out or something.
Right.
Because it's, a reward program and then I kind of forgot about it. But because I have other trackables that I haven't ever sent out either in tags and stuff sitting around, but I want to do something fun with it. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it inside a cache or something, paint the number into a cache that I make or something. Since it's not a tag anyway, and you're going to have to come up with something. And there's no, before we get off the subject, but proxies I've never seen a good one, so that anybody makes. So I don't want to send out something that's just going to disappear anyway.
I got a decent proxy from doing the Geo Tour in Birthplace of Texas, but again, it's like you said, it was the only one I found of all the ones I've had proxy wise. That was probably the best looking one, but
Yeah,
they're few and far between.
By the time you purchase one, you can just buy another tag.
Right.
Just get another number.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so I haven't sent mine out yet. I think other people will eventually, but
yeah, very cool. And then there's a new change to the dashboard.
Yeah, so it's mainly for, you know how that feed that has everybody's activity. I noticed now too, and I don't think this was part of the new change, but one of the new change was that you can just watch your own caches. So it automatically gives you notification when you first pop up activity in your own caches. Of course, you get emails anyway, but you can also select to only see your activity, or to see the community's activity, or to see just your caches. So other people's activity in your caches. I like that because I know some people may like it, but I didn't like I don't care what everybody in the community's caches. I mean, half of them you don't know everybody, so I don't really care if they found 20 caches today. So it's neat to be able to monitor your own like that.
It also shows when someone adds a favorite point now.
Yeah.
So if you switch it to only your own caches, you can see this person logged this cache, here's what they wrote, and then it would say like added a favorite point, or have a little heart or something like that.
Right. So yeah, your options are yours, which is to show only your latest activity. Community, show you and your friends' latest activity, or your hides. So, like you said, it's interesting.
Well, it's a lot more user-friendly. Not user-friendly, I guess, but what they're putting together on that page at first wasn't much, but as they add more things, it's actually things that that you want. So they're doing a good job of updating that, I think.
Yep. No,
I also, if you're looking at your friends, the community, what is community page or whatever?
Your friend league?
No, on your dashboard, you could view your friends, right? What your friends logs. And there's some people that I know that I'm friends with on geocaching that, go and find 70 caches in a day, and then you see this person from this cache and this person from this cache. But now, if they find and log more than 5 caches, it condenses it into one little blurb.
That's nice.
I found that nice.
Yeah.
Well, and it's options. That's what I like about it. Like at first, it was just that feed. I was like, oh, skip through that every time. But now you have something that's usable for more people, so that's good. And I know it takes time to implement something new like this, because every time they do anything, some part of the community is going to complain that it's the worst thing ever, no matter what they do. So somebody's going to dislike it, and some people are going to like it. So they're slowly adding things in there. I think it's getting better.
And I think they are taking feedback a lot more lately, because they've seemed very active. Like the lackeys that are part of that team are very active in responding to bugs or feedback in the sections of the forum where, they post these new updates. And like I said, it just seems like they're really thinking about what people have to say and, changing things quickly if necessary, like bugs and stuff.
I like the community part. I mean, that's just for me personally. I like seeing what people are doing. I get to see, what like Craig. He has a note. He found, a cache today. It's like, oh, what did he find? Or here's one. Shermanator 18. She's going to attend a GIF in Rochester. How about that?
What?
Will attend. I know. It's secret geocaching lives. Gary. Yeah, following what you're doing. And did people doing under maintenance, what they found? It's kind of neat. I don't know. Okay, enough of that, I guess.
But they are changing it, and it's useful.
Yeah, I like it.
That's the summary. Yeah,
very, very much so. And lastly, we have a note about Geo Woodstock. They're going. Do you want me to do this one?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I'll do this one. Geo Woodstock 18 and Cachely have joined forces. They're going to do a special Geo tour that's going to be available during Geo Woodstock 18, which is in Cincinnati, Ohio. next May. So get your plans in on that. Can't miss event, as they say, Woodstock 18, and just neat that Nick and getting involved with them and helping sponsor this Geo tour that they're doing out there. Just so cool.
And it is going to be an official Geo tour, and there is going to be prizes, but they don't know what exactly yet. So
that's very cool. Awesome stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. I heard about one that's not. I don't think they're ready to discuss it yet, but since I am an ambassador of Woodstock 18, I get to hear some of the. But they're doing a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of being that it's in a park. I mean, a amusement park. They're really got some options that I think they're useful for this kind of event. A little different, not necessarily the spots you want to have every year for Woodstock, but it's unique. It's a little different, and so hats off to them and good luck and everything with all the planning. They're putting a lot of time and effort into it, so good for them.
Do either one of you think you're going to go?
Here's my. Go ahead, Gary.
I'm just saying we're planning on it. I got a room set up, and we're planning on it. Part of it is of course with if I can get a job before then would be a good thing to pay for it. So go ahead, Sydney.
So it's 9 hours ish from me. They're at 2,800 will attend logs, and they're still 6 months out, 7 months out. So I have a good feeling that a Giga event might happen here. It's getting very close. And if it's Giga, I'm going. Whether I go and sleep in my car that night and then just come back the next day, I'm going. I don't care. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us have a Giga on our page. So
I won't have that one either. There's 0% chance I'll be there because it's graduation.
I know.
So as long as they keep doing it that weekend, I'll never get to attend. But
the one thing though that would be good, Jesse, is the fact that if this one does happen to go Giga, possibly it might open the floodgate, and then either 19 or 20 may end up being a Giga, and maybe we can have more Gigas, or maybe have a Giga in the U.S. Then maybe we'll start a floodgate, and then you could go to maybe 19 or Woodstock 19 or 20.
That's possible. So, but I want to be at the first Giga, so I'm not going to hope that it doesn't go Giga, but at the same time, I don't know. I'll be very, very jealous if I don't get to attend the first Giga.
Well, first in the U.S. So, I mean, it's not the first Giga ever. So,
well, that's
you always have that if you don't get to go. So,
yeah, there you go. That's my out, right?
Yes, you're out.
Okay.
All right, we're going to talk guidelines now. Jesse and I did a little 0.5 show on this, and so, but Sydney wasn't available, so we wanted to go back and talk about this because we really wanted Sydney's involvement in discussing these guidelines, because it's just interesting. I think we have the best team, the best podcasting team out there. I love the other shows, don't get me wrong, but the three of us are very different in many ways, geocaching wise. And so I think it helps. And I've heard this from other people, the fact that we're like the perfect superhero team for geocaching podcasts. So,
wow.
I know, that's what I've been told. That's the word on the street. But the guidelines are interesting because we kind of all read them maybe a little differently, or we have different perspectives on them, or different things stood out to us, and so we're going to talk about them tonight. So, I guess we'll start at the top. We'll work our way through and go from there.
So do we want to? Okay, I'll start. That's fine. Thoughts on one of the most controversial new rules, burying a geocache.
Ah, yes. Burying one. This is a cool idea. Maybe.
What are your thoughts on it?
Mine were that I think they were trying to clarify. Isn't that what this was supposed to be? A clarification?
Right.
Maybe it doesn't seem. That's not the way. It looked like it was something brand new, though, right?
Well, they outed it as this is a clarification and simplification of the guidelines.
Yep.
Look up. We have a special guest again. Look
A
at this.
ghost, it looks like.
Special ghost.
Well,
It's Halloween month.
It's Sodak Zach, our man at the cache.
How's it going, guys?
Sodak Zach, glad to have you on tonight, buddy.
Hey,
So,
ironically,
we just started
talking about heard you guys talking about superheroes, and I'm wondering which one I would be.
You're in, buddy.
Absolutely, the Flash.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was Spider-Man, but
Oh yeah, could be. I guess
he might be a combination of the two. We need to, because he's like a combo of both Spider-Man, Spider Flash. There you go. But so we just started talking about these new geocaching guidelines about burying caches, and this is perfect because what are you doing tonight? What's your
I was actually, so you guys were talking about you could bury caches or whatever, so I was thinking of hosting the first Digga event.
Oh, Digga event. That's perfect, buddy.
Wow.
No, actually, not an
perfect.
event, but I'm actually considering, so I want to bury my first cache, right? So I'm out here. I found this perfect place, nice dirt area. I'm digging after dark, so no muggles see me or anything.
Right.
And I was wondering which tool do you think I should use?
Ooh,
So I got a shovel.
Shovel. All right. Well, okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, I also have this post hole, like one of those augers or those clams that you lift the dirt out.
That's not a bad idea at all. I like that idea. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some rock and stuff, so maybe I should use a pickaxe.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Okay. Well, I also have this auger, but
sweet.
I'm I'm actually trying to dig, like, I want the world's deepest cache, so that people
I'm with you.
Yeah, they could dig as far down as they want. They'll never get this. So I'm actually over here, and I've got this.
That's perfect.
It's an excavator. I think I could get about 25 feet down with this thing.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
that's a burial now. So that I think.
Are you sure you're making a geocache here, Zach? What exactly are you doing out there? In the dark.
Well,
for the first time on live on a geocaching podcast, he's going to bury a cache. This is awesome.
I know it's Halloween month, and I know I look like a ghost right now, and I can reassure you that the cache I'm burying does look like a body. No.
Oh, sweet. That's perfect. I mean, you gotta go, bury that thing down there because that's the rules say you can bury caches now. So
Yeah.
Did you forget about the other part of the rule though?
Was
there another part?
Yeah, there's another part to the burying the cache rule. You have to have explicit permission. Did you remember to do that part?
Well, I thought it was implied.
Yeah, it's a dirt field.
It's a dirt field. I think.
You should be
implied,
good,
isn't it?
Yeah, you should be good.
I'd say so. Well, I'm gonna get to work over here, and I'll call you guys back in a little bit, see how I'm doing.
Yeah, bury that thing deep in there and be
at least
perfect.
12 feet down.
Yep. All right.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
All right, guys, grab the body.
Grab the body.
Grab the body. That's gonna be a rough geocache to find,
But you know what that does? I mean,
is it Train 5 special equipment?
Look at that! Oh yeah.
Oh, see,
that is special equipment. I think. It does bring it up though, so people will. So if it's burying a cache, if that's not very well explained as we move forward, somebody will eventually bury one. I mean, how many kids join the game and have nobody to really tell them what it means? So, what would stop them if you read that rule from burying something 6 feet down?
Yes, and I think just a few minutes ago, as we were discussing this, I went, of course, pulled up the guidelines for tonight. And so if I may, let me share my screen and show you guys something interesting. Because there wasn't any discussion about this, but look, the rules have been changed without them telling us they've changed it. It says you do not bury geocaches now. They changed it from when they originally sent the guidelines out, either partially or completely. So you're now not allowed to bury even partially. You must not create a hole in the ground to place or find a geocache. The only exception is if a property owner gives explicit permission, which you must provide to the reviewer and state on the cache page. So
you can bury them with permission of, yeah.
So it's kind of clear, or it's not clear again.
Well, and people are, I guess we'll see what people do, but I don't know.
They also have some regional geocaching policies for details in your region. I don't know why they put it here under bury, but anyway.
I don't know. So how do you think that one's going to shake out? Are people going to be burying caches?
I think people are going to try.
Do you think that adds anything to the game?
No.
Not like a truly buried, like a 6 foot down buried cache.
Your shovel or your excavator?
Yeah, I don't know that would add any. My guess is they did it just for the other exceptions that we've all kind of talked about, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I really wish that they would have made it very clear, which is, I think that a thing like Mingo, I think, is completely acceptable. That's my opinion, is that it's visible. It is in the ground, yes, but it's not in the ground in such a way that you're going to have any issue with finding it, or that's my thought. Is that the caches like that are like a tube in the ground. Maybe you have to use a metal. I had a cache similar to that with permission in one of our parks, which was a tube in the ground, and to get to it, you had to use like a metal, like a long piece of a magnet on a long stick or something to get to it, called Ant-Man. So, it's one of those that, my reviewer approved it. No, there was no issues with it. So I don't know. We're probably making more about this than there really is, but.
Well, and I think there'll be some follow up, right? Because I think this could apply to like one of the most famous type of caches is gadget caches, right? Those birdhouse caches. Right. A lot of those are on a post. So if you're digging for that post, or you're putting a post in the ground specifically for that, technically that would have been against the rules before, but we know they're out there. So a post in the ground, like somebody mentioned that in the chat room, a post in the ground, or one of those, the penny with the little plastic thing under it.
Yep.
You just shove down like that. Those are common examples where that rule kind of could be talking about, but it's so unclear, it's hard to know.
Right. And with the, fake birdhouse on a post that you shove in the ground, they don't want you attaching anything to trees. So how else are you supposed to have a quality cache that you can't attach to a tree? You can't put on a post and put it in the ground. What are you supposed to do? Just leave it on the ground somewhere?
Right. To throw down.
Well, people make these nice birdhouses and those kind of things, and you have to put it on something, or you're not just going to set it there like at the base of a tree, right? You want it to be like at height level for people.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put something in the ground or attach it to like a post that's already there. I don't know.
Well, a fence post or something. Yeah.
You could say, oh, this wooden post was here already, and the owner said I could use it. It's fine. Right.
But does and Jesse, you want to talk about the other portion of this? I think is kind of a maybe a get out of jail free card, kind of.
The owner responsibility.
Well,
skipping on.
No, we'll talk about that in a moment. I guess the idea was or I'll mention that the other part of that thing was the only exception is if a property owner gives explicit permission. So.
Oh gosh, yes.
I guess in a sense that if you get permission from an owner like yourself, if you want to bury it in your own front yard, I guess. But if you got permission from somebody, it could almost be anything at that point. I mean, I guess as long as you got approval, obviously it's got to get past a reviewer. But I mean, is that?
I feel like they didn't mean go out, dig a hole, put your geocache in the ground, cover it back up with dirt. Like, that's kind of cruel for people.
Right.
Like, why would you want anyone to have to do that? And then they're digging around your yard, like, just randomly because they have no idea where it actually is. Like, bring your metal detector so you can find this geocache. That's not what it's supposed to be.
No, I agree. That's not the idea, and I think that there's a way to clear it up, I guess. And I know they went. I know they really wanted to go for they kept touting that they lowered the word count. It's like, and we talked about this before. Is I don't care what the word count is, just get it right. Go into great detail if you have to. I don't care about that. I don't care what the word count is of the guidelines. Make it 500 pages if you need to. I can sort through it. I can do a find on it. That's my thought.
I think the good thing is that it's in a place on the website that I think is accessible, easily to find for most people. Like, a lot of people, they'll hide their first cache, and you click the little checkbox that says I read the guidelines, and no, they didn't.
Right. Ain't that the truth? We've seen that.
So I feel like that's more important than what the words actually say. Putting it in a place where people can easily find it and where they're gonna see it, and maybe even some way to make sure that, because those forms where they make you read it before you can click the box. I feel like they should do something like that with this, just so people at least have to scroll through it, and maybe they'll get something out of it before they click the checkbox or whatever it is.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's go on. So Jesse, let's talk now about owner responsibility for cache owners.
So I know this is kind of a big question. It'll lead into several other ones, but and you have the rules that are there specifically, but they gave something paraphrasing that you can basically lose your right to hide geocaches if you're not maintaining your geocaches properly.
I have the exact wording if you want.
Okay, go for it.
Cache owners who do not maintain their existing caches in a timely manner may temporarily or permanently lose the right to list new caches on geocaching.com. So if you don't maintain your caches, if you have a lot of caches that have needs maintenance or are disabled, then I guess the reviewer can say, no, I'm not going to publish any new caches for you.
Do you see any problems with that?
I see people getting angry over it, but I don't see a problem with it.
I mean, I see there needs to be a hard line there, right? You're not just dumping caches, just throw down caches and not ever maintaining them. I know some people expect other people to maintain their caches. I think that's the community's job. That's one train of thought, and I don't subscribe to that one. I don't want people replacing my caches that I put out or anything like that. That's a responsibility that I take on as a cache owner. I want it to, unless it's something special or whatever, then you talk to somebody. But just a random person coming in and replacing it, I don't think that's their responsibility to have to do that. So I don't see a downside to that other than I wish it'd be even stricter. I think caches that somebody opens an account, caches for 3 days and hides a cache, and now the community is maintaining it forever and it's not a high quality cache. That person moves on to some other game and it just stays there taking up a spot. Everybody just keeps replacing it and replacing it and replacing it. Mm-hmm. At some point in time, if the account's inactive, I think that cache should just go away or be up for adoption.
Very much so. And I think that one thing I would like to see more of is a little more consistency within the reviewers, because from what I understand, each reviewer now. I understand that reviewers are volunteers, and I love them to death. I'm so glad they do this, but I don't know if there's a way that they can, like you said, Jesse, that there should be almost a guideline for them that if this owner and I think this happens very often, at least down here in Texas, is that if I find a cache that is not maintained, I send them when I send them a needs. Once we're past the initial needs maintenance, I can't get a response, and I go to the needs archive point because I'll go there. I know some people won't go there. I'll go there. I will go there if it gets to that point. Now, trust me, I don't go there very often, but when I do, I show them. I say, hey, look, this cache owner hadn't been online since 2012. I mean, it's time.
Mhm.
It's time to get this cache out of here because, number one, I probably want that spot. Number two is it's sitting in a spot that it's not being maintained. It's not there. It's got multiple people who haven't found it. Well, Jesse, when you were down here, there was that one that you looked for, and I was going to go take a quick look. I still think it's still sitting out there, taking up a spot.
Well, and Tom in the chat room brought up that one concern would be new people getting in and marking a needs archived or needs maintenance,
right?
And they don't know what they're doing.
I agree.
Which is why I think it shouldn't be an automated thing. Like you get 3 and it automatically blocks your account or whatever. But if you get a needs maintenance on there and it's stayed there for a while, owners can take a needs maintenance off instantly.
Right.
All you have to do is get in there and go, I fixed it or whatever it is and take it off. So I think if it's staying there for a while, an issue, I would not be a fan of, 3 needs maintenance in a row triggers it automatically because it could be in one day. That'd be terrible.
I agree.
But if it's staying on there and, and that's where a reviewer's doing it automatically, I think. Or not automatically, he's not doing it automatically. The reviewer looks at it and goes, okay, this is one that needs to be nominated for. And I'm sure they'd send you a warning ahead of time too, like, hey, if you don't maintain your caches, you can't hide anymore.
Most of the time they do. And I think that's good to still have that subjectivity or person-human connection and not like just a machine saying, oh, there's a needs archive on here, get rid of it. Because people are going to either post it, new people are going to post it and not really know, what they did, or they're just saying, I didn't find it, it's not here. Or people just sometimes hit the wrong log. And sometimes you, like Zach did on the one cache, he found it when it was supposed to be DNF. Like it's really an accident. And it's important to remember that reviewers automatically get an email when you log a needs archive, but they don't get emails for needs maintenance. So your reviewer doesn't necessarily know what caches have a needs maintenance log unless they go in and actually look. So that's something, like if there's already a needs maintenance log, your reviewer might not know about it, but if you log the needs archive, then it's definitely going to bring it up to their attention pretty immediately.
Yeah, well, one thing they do in Texas is they have an algorithm they run. If a cache needs maintenance, I think it's after 30 days, you do get an email from your reviewer saying it's usually a
like a form letter email.
Form letter, yeah. I can pull up the one for us, but and it's just a reminder that hey, you said you were gonna it's gonna be fixed. And by the way, that cache, Jesse, that you marked that needs maintenance back on March 16th of 2017, it's still out there, and it's since you did that, there have been 2 more DNFs on it, and it's still sitting there.
So one of the people in the chat room brought up a good point I didn't even think about. And I may mispronounce her name, Cachers with a Z.
Yep.
They said one reason why they wouldn't or shouldn't have them up for adoption after the person leaves the game is because the cache container is somebody's property.
Oh, right.
I didn't even think of that. So they would have to build that in from the very beginning of the game, that if you leave the game or you're not active, your cache will be adopted out. And somebody else brought up that you don't know what state that's in or whether they even had permission from the property owner either. So
that's
I
true.
guess there's a lot to that. So that's some good points from I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that is good info.
I mean, if it's a pill bottle, who cares, right? But if it's something of any kind of value and somebody had permission to put something there, you don't really have permission to go and take it away. So that's an interesting point.
And also brought up in the chat room was, I've seen this in my area, that someone creates a fake account and just starts logging needs archived on a bunch of caches to either just get rid of them because they want the spot or they're just angry or whatever. Or sometimes it's legit. And so, I mean, that's why you still need that person on the other side, because people are not always nice.
What?
Mhm.
That
That's
can't be
true.
true.
That's very true.
It happened. There was a person here that made a bunch of fake accounts, and they were just logging needs archived, like on events. They were logging like, okay, the event's over, I need to archive it. And I was like, why? What is the point? And so that account got blocked by the reviewer. It got locked down. And then they just create a new account. And it's the same person. And it's just, that's
Not
why
good.
there needs to be that person. I don't think a machine could ever just do this.
Yeah. There's too much to it.
There's other interesting thing about this is that in our caches, there might be trackables.
Mm-hmm. Which is somebody's property also.
Sydney.
Right.
And Sydney has a question for us.
There is a quote under the owner responsibility section saying, occasionally, owners must mark trackables as missing if they are not in the geocache. And that is under the owner responsibility, which if you don't maintain your cache, you can get your hiding privileges taken away. So if you don't mark trackables as missing when they're missing, can your hiding privileges get taken away?
That's part of maintaining your cache, right?
It is.
I mean, it's listed under the rules, so technically now that would cause a lot of people to be very mad if you started needs maintenance every time there's caches, trackables missing. However, there needs to be some way to do that, right? Because if you just put a note on the page, if only the owner and the owner of the trackable and the owner of the cache can mark a trackable from a cache missing. So when you go and find it, you either have to email those people or something like, hey, how many times do you go to a cache and there's no trackable in there, but it says there's one on the page? There should be an easier way, some kind of button just says, hey, this is clear. And, there's no trackables in here. And it sends a note to the owner or something without having to email every person that's on that list.
That would be perfect. I mean, think of the hundreds of caches that we've all found that have hundreds and hundreds of missing trackables, and there's nothing really, other than you make notes and you spend all this time sending notes to either the cache owner or like you said, or the trackable owner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that would be perfect if you could just had the button. Of course.
Gosh.
Do you really want that button though? What if, okay, a new person comes along.
You have to have 100.
You don't know what a trackable looks like, and you're just looking through the cache. You just say, "Oh, it's not here. Mark it as missing."
Right. They're marking all of them.
I'm just playing the opposite side of the coin here.
I'm with you. I know. Maybe the button shows up only if you have over 500 finds or something. I don't know.
That's why I personally like the cache owner only, or the trackable owner having the opportunity to log trackable is missing, because the owner knows the cache.
Right.
They know where it is. They know what's inside, and they're knowledgeable enough to know what trackables are for the most part.
So maybe only premium members would have that option then.
Hey, now you're talking.
Here's another thing. People drop trackables in events, especially mega events. There's thousands of trackables listed at mega events. There's megas.
You mean they dip?
No, they drop them there.
They drop them up there. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they may just be like my T-shirt or whatever. I'm gonna drop it in the event and then pick it up later. That might be one thing. People forget to pick them back up, but I've lost trackables at mega events because people don't log them.
Oh, sure.
And so they get I drop them in the mega event, and then nobody logs them ever again. And there are trackables sitting in events from years and years ago. And the event people, they post on their page, make sure you log your trackables, but they never mark the trackable as missing. So they're all just sitting in events still. Thousands of trackables, I bet, are still just sitting in events.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely they are. But before we go further, there was a good thing. That chat room is on fire tonight, right?
On fire!
Somebody, Andrew Bush, brought up, and this is the previous topic, but it's good. It says, if the cache is archived because the cache is no longer active, whose responsibility is it to go pick up the geo litter? Because a container
Ooh.
without a cache listing is geo rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
So these ones that go away because it's a one-time player or something, there's probably tons of geocache litter out there that just stays there forever because it got archived, and because I know people hunt for archived caches to see if they're still there sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The nearest geocache owner to that one is now responsible for going and collecting the geotrash.
Negative.
Okay, well, that was an idea.
But that's a good point too, right? So now it's gone. There should be some kind of system for, maybe that's when you sign on in the beginning. There's certain, if you're going to put this out and use our listing service, you're responsible for a couple things. And if you stop using this listing service for 6 months or whatever else, or a year, then we're going to adopt this and make sure it's maintained properly so it's not just litter out there. So there could be something to it.
You got cache owners that come along, they hide a cache, they disappear, they never show up again, and like you said, there's no way to get a hold of them because they're gone. They have no interest in geocaching ever again.
Right.
So,
very interesting.
Maybe we adopt a highway kind of thing. We do a
Adopt a juke.
Well, I could, or I adopt
clean up all the geocaches on this stretch of trail.
I get out my Ceto stuff, and I get all set up, and I start walking and picking up old I mean,
I've actually done this.
Have you really done that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Someone, I don't know, for whatever reason, decided to leave the game and archive all their caches. So I was like, well, they're perfectly good. He's not going to pick them up, so I'm going to go and get them and use them for myself.
Oh, you stole them?
No, he archived them and left them there.
I know.
I feel like he actually archived his caches, and he said he was done with them. He didn't go pick them up. So it's free grabs, in my opinion, at that point.
Sounds like.
Plus, I was removing the geo litter.
How do you know it was litter and it wasn't there with permission from the owner?
But he archived it and didn't get it.
Yeah.
What if it's listed on? Did you check to see if it was listed on another service?
I did.
You're a thief. Don't even. You're a thief. You're a thief.
Ooh.
Thief, Sydney the thief.
Now, that's a thought. That's interesting.
Trash.
And I'm sure they were all like. I'm sure they were. Yeah, I mean, you could have just relisted them, right? Hey, these are all gone. I'm just going to relist them all. I just got 13 more caches I published today.
Copy the exact wording from the page.
Yeah, and put 2 at the end of every title. 2. Reborn. That's funny. I mean, at least you went and got it and picked them up. Yeah, so
absolutely.
I couldn't even imagine how many are out there that have never been picked up.
I didn't do this as soon as it happened. I waited a week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. I waited a couple weeks. It was still there. So I went and I picked it up. He obviously had no interest in retrieving his container. So I went and did some Cetoing. Cash in, cash out.
Cash in, cash out.
So.
That's funny.
I do like the idea, though, that you mentioned that. We could do some sort of volunteer type thing where I could take an area, and it's kind of like the adopt a highway, like you're talking about. And in a sense, I could be contacted by the reviewer and say, hey, you're responsible for this area, or you said you were going to become, you agreed to be responsible for this area. Could you go to this area, to this archive cache, and could you remove anything for me? And, that's something we could do. You could kind of go down the line instead of, and it's just a way that we kind of, in a sense, as just the cache owners or even cache hiders could become responsible for, or feel like you're part of the ownership. It's like Sydney did. It's a part of, it's sort of Ceto. She cleaned up, but of course she was looking for, trinkets to, she was looking to steal the swag from them.
It's not true.
She's a swag stealer. She wanted to just try to.
There was nothing good in these anyways. Wait, now that we talk about that, different person archived their cache, and it was right nearby my house, and there was a trackable listed in it, and they archived it. And I was like, what? I wonder if that trackable is still there. I went there. The cache was still there. I picked up the trackable and saved it from being gone forever.
She saved the trackable.
There you go.
You. There you go.
Well, we already talked about there were superheroes, and Sydney just proved that she's a superhero. So
obviously a superhero.
Trackable saver woman.
Right. She's the Geo Wonder Woman. No, that's good though. That's good. And I'd like there to be more, maybe some sort of way the reviewers can get people involved in helping. Other than, I mean, we can't publish caches for them, but if they need us to help them, I mean, I don't know if there's a way that they could form some sort of groups in an area, like they could have a list of like 12 cache owners in this particular region, and they can call on them if they need to periodically and say, hey, can you go look at this cache? There's been some discussion about whether it's valid or not, because reviewers they don't have the time. They can't go check every cache. I mean, there's
no way.
But
no, they can't. Yeah,
but
there's no way you can expect a reviewer to go out and actually do that. I feel like they have enough to do as it is. Right,
but they could ask a group that they trust, that have shown that they're trustworthy, and we could be we could be helpers and kind of say, hey, I don't know. It's a thought.
The problem with that is, and I think where a lot of people end up doing sock puppet accounts and stuff like that, is I've heard people that say they're intimidated or afraid to put a needs maintenance or needs archived on certain people's caches because of the repercussions afterwards.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I think there's some social stuff going on there. People are, this is terrible, but I'm going to let somebody else put something on there because they're afraid of a backlash. And, because I've been in some areas where there's some tension among the caching community. I am very lucky that I live in an area where people get along up here, and we have a great group and monthly dinners that 40 people at, and they're all friendly. But I know some other areas that they have problems. They're afraid of retribution from people if they do anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. Some people are that way. That's why if I'm going to log a needs archived, I'm going to be very specific. I'm going to say, this cache has had this many DNFs in a row over the past this many days. There's been this many needs maintenance. Nothing's been done about it. I'm going to, give all the evidence I have. And that way they can't argue with me about it. I'm, and a reviewer, and even if I post it, it doesn't mean the reviewer is going to archive it. The owner could still come in and fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not an automatic thing. I feel like people shouldn't get so angry about it. The only way you would get angry about it is if you are the CO and you just haven't been maintaining your caches and be like, no, I don't want my caches archived. Wait, and then just go fix your caches, people. Seriously.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be there's a couple owners, in our area that the only way we can get them to move is to put a needs maintenance. And even then we can't seem to get them to get out and check their caches. And so our area, we've been pretty fortunate. I think I know everybody who hides whatever they do hide, the once in a blue moon cache out here. But I think that there's been plenty of proper, but like you were saying, it sometimes it takes the needs archive to get people to move and get it done, get off their behind. Unfortunately,
it does. People are always, the system generally works well, but there's always going to be people that cause problems with it. So, but I think it's good that they're at least moving in the direction. It may not be perfect. Mm-hmm. They're moving in the direction of people are going to have to be more responsible, and kind of the side conversation that's happening in the chat room is how many caches out there of the active listings are geo litter, and how many of them are just nobody's really maintaining them, and all that other stuff. So this may be a step in that right direction, right? If you can't just keep hiding stuff if you're not going to maintain, because that's important. So,
no, I agree. You're right. So, Sydney, you found something interesting as we were perusing
I This came to my mind immediately upon reading these the first day they came out. One quote from the new guidelines is, explore outer space. With permission, geocachers may place caches in space, either on other planets or in spacecraft.
So now we can hide them inside of things.
As long
Inside.
as it's a spacecraft.
Right.
But, okay, here's the thing. I know they're joking.
Right.
I know that there's, quote, a geocache on the International Space Station.
There was, well, there was a trackable up there at one point.
It's technically listed as a geocache.
It is.
It is.
You're right.
That's why I said, quote, geocache.
Yeah. Right.
But if this whole rewriting of the guidelines was about making things clear and concise, should we really be joking and sarcastic in our guidelines?
No.
So I will say that Elon Musk did just announce that in a few years we're going to be on Mars. So maybe they're just being early. They're just being early adopters of that.
I wonder if I should go ahead and
2024, that's not that far away.
Should I just go and stake out an area?
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, so is it a 5-5 if you place a cache on Mars because you need special equipment to get there?
But at that point, is that really special equipment? Isn't it fall into like a ladder? I mean, we'll all be able
A
to
spaceship?
a spaceship.
I think that might be a little higher than a ladder.
Well,
It's just a couple of miles away, right?
yeah. Yeah, I guess it is a little bit bigger than a ladder.
And okay, someone else just brought this up. How do you get coordinates if the satellites are revolving or whatever? That's not the right word. Around orbiting Earth. I mean, you're not going to get a good GPS signal on Mars, right?
It's a letterbox.
Right.
You start on Earth.
But you have
travel
to
directly up.
Even a letterbox, you have to use a GPS for some portion of the finding. That's also a rule.
Yeah. You get to your place on Earth. It takes you to NASA.
And then you get in your rocket and you blast off. And then when you get to the Milky or the Orion's belt or whatever, you take a left.
Yeah, I think that's just humor. I think they're just putting humor in there, is what they're doing. Although technically it is a real rule. You could, right?
It is a real rule. It's in the rule book now. What's ironic is it's right under the stay away from restricted areas. I mean, it's like a very serious.
I feel like that's a restricted
topic.
area.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like why we don't need, like you said, this is not a time. This is not a place to put this crazy stuff in here.
And like people are gonna want to take this seriously.
Right. Well,
like they're gonna like. I don't know what they could possibly do, but
people don't read the rules now. They're not going to change how they're doing to go to another planet. We host the show.
We're different. Yeah, we're like
how
one
many
of
people?
what?
I'd love to know that.
Out there? Not many.
How many people have been playing geocaching for a year and have never looked at
playing? Oh, this is not playing, Jesse.
Okay, seriously, participating in the hobby or sport of geocaching for a year and have not ever looked at the rules.
90%.
Yeah, because I mean, they're long. There's tons of rules in there. If you haven't hidden one, you probably definitely have not looked at the rules. Once you get to the hiding stage, you may look at them a lot more because you want to know how to do it. But just for finding them, starting on your phone, you're not going to go online and read those rules. I don't think most people aren't.
No. Well, and the other part too is you forget that in those rules there are hyperlinks, and every hyperlink has multiple. I mean, it'd be interesting. Not that you want to start killing more trees out there, but if you actually print it out, if you went to every hyperlink, cut and paste it all into one gigantor,
it's huge.
It is because there's a link, there's a hyperlink every few words. Additional physical caches for all geocache types with multiple stages. The additional physical or virtual stages must be added to the cache page as additional waypoints. Well, additional waypoints is hyperlinked. So if you click on that, you get a whole new page of 6.8. Ownership after publication. There are 19 sections under section 6.
It's like a law book.
It is. It goes on and on. As far as delete, there's a whole section on deleting logs. I mean, there's a section on just, it goes on and on. And so for them to say that they've shortened the rules, it's like, does it really matter at this point that you shorten them? I mean, the rules go on and on, which is fine. I like that. I want there to be clear, concise, as much as concise as they can be. But I mean, there's all sections, huge sections of the thing. Anyway, all right.
So,
Go ahead.
so I think we'll have to make an announcement about our time that we've kind of run out of here. You want to make that announcement now, and then I'll hit that next
Yeah.
thing.
So those of you that were listening, hoping we were going to talk about new virtuals, we're going to add that into, and we'll make another show. We'll have a different show for that
Very soon.
Very soon, yeah. We'll pick that show up really quickly because this got out of hand, which is fine. That's a great thing that we got involved in here with this discussion. But new virtuals in an upcoming show.
So mine and the chat room is very alive tonight too. So they've had some good stuff, and
definitely
Cachers has been doing some good comments too. But they've had some side discussions which we could get so distracted on we never get to virtuals again. But there's some interesting stats that they're bringing up in there, and we not to get sidetracked again, but I think we could do a whole show just on the stuff that they've been talking about, and we can hit those later. But talking about how many people actually find more, that find that one cache and then don't ever find again. There's some pretty interesting stats in there. I don't know where they're coming from, but they look believable. So that'd be interesting to know how many people start up and then never even make it to their first year.
Oh, that's true. That's an interesting stat for sure. If we could find that.
No, so this is it's not necessarily these new rules, but it's one of the newer rules, challenges. And I know we've talked about those a few times on the show. They come up, and they're very interesting. One of my favorite parts of the game. So here's my question, and I'm going to get y'all's opinions, and we'll see what the chat room says as well. But submitted a new challenge. It's for simple challenge, find 25 webcams, right? It's rated as difficult. It got rejected. So it got rejected for it didn't pass I forget the exact words, but enough people, it wouldn't appeal to enough people, or it's too hard or whatever, because there's not very many of them. So I'm in the appeal process with Geocaching headquarters right now on that. What's your thoughts on that? And then I'll give my opinion too, but too hard challenge, what?
25.
It is. I know people that specifically seek out webcam caches, whether they're, if they're within 200 miles, they're going to go and get it. So they have like 100 or something webcams. It's hard for me personally because I just started 3 years ago. So there's dwindling numbers of webcams. Many years ago, I assume, when some people started, like this person that I know, there was many more. So they had more of an opportunity. I don't think it shouldn't be allowed. I understand that it's hard and it would be a 5-star. That's great. I don't think I would ever get it. Like, I'm not interested in that, but this is like the hardest part about the new challenges, because you have to say like, oh, this many people already qualify, but then it's not really a challenging challenge.
Right. So Eric in the chat room stole my basic comment, and what you were just about to allude to is it's really a reward cache and not a challenge cache if you're only putting out stuff that people have already done, right?
Oh, gotcha. Right. I personally I like it, but I see what the possibility is for, and you're more up on the challenge part, Jesse, than I know I am, but you have obviously you had to have 25 webcams before you could.
Yeah, I've got a little more than that, but I'm qualified for it. And I did a search, and there's already, before the challenge comes out, there's already at least 15 to 20 people in each of our 3 areas that are qualified for this. I just picked our areas for it, but they would already be qualified. If the point of a challenge cache though is only to put out something that people have already done, that's not really a challenge. I mean, in my opinion, you're trying to get them to work towards something or add something fun and new to the game, not just get a reward. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of my thought. And I really like challenges. I'm so glad they came back, but I hope it doesn't become a, well, you can't put this out because nobody's done it yet. Well, that's kind of what it's becoming, right? So
It is.
I know I'm hoping to inspire people with a challenge, not just reward people that have already done it.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, I like the idea of that one because I love webcams, but and there are some challenges that I'll never get or I have no interest. Like Sydney says, she has she has some that she's interested in, but she has others that she's not interested in, and then so I like the idea that challenges can cross multiple ways that we look at the sport. I mean, like the one you were doing, Jesse. I signed the log, but I obviously can't claim the cash yet because I haven't completed it. But the one that you were doing that where you had to do, you have to help me on this one. Where you had to find stuff on a certain day of the week.
I've seen challenges like that before.
Didn't you have one we had it was not the day of the week, it was the day of the month. You had to find stuff on a certain day.
Yeah. Now there's no way that would fly now. I mean, that was a weird one. It was like February. It was something about there was some similar number, and you had to find 13 of something, and then find them on the 13th of the month or something too. So
yeah, you had to find 13 of a certain type on the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a bit ridiculous in my opinion.
That was an older challenge, and it's neat. But of course, my thought with that is, don't do it if you don't like it. You know what I mean? There's certain challenges that I would never go for because it doesn't appeal to me. Right. But the whole, that's really subjective when you say something's too hard, right? Mm-hmm. So there's tons of those caches out there, challenge caches out there that are find a cache in every state, right? That's way more traveling than you would have to do to find 25 webcams. So who says which one's harder, right? You don't have to go 25 states to get 25 webcams, or 50 states to get 25 webcams for sure.
Yeah, Colorado has 13, Texas has 16.
No. They don't have that many webcams. There's only 2 webcams in Colorado.
Oh, qualifiers before publishing is what you put on there.
That's people, yeah. So that's people that are qualified for those.
So you've got that many people. Well, that's quite a few though that are qualified.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess that's subjective, but at what point are we going backwards with challenges that are going to create more problems because you're so.
Do you think that Geocaching HQ is happy with their decision?
Well, they still haven't made a final decision yet. So they were talking about they're still evaluating them. Remember on one of their first podcasts, they said they're still evaluating them. So they must be having some issues with them, or they'd be done because they've been out for more than a year now. Because they were talking about whether there's going to be a new icon or whether it's going to be broken out or whatever. And on their podcast, they said they needed some more time to evaluate. So they must be having some issues with them. I don't know what those issues are, but
what I'm wondering is they were having a lot of issues with reviewers not knowing if this is good, if this is not. People saying, well, why wasn't my challenge cache published? They were having a lot of appeals. Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering if that number has gone down like they were hoping it would. That I don't know. I guess we'd have to talk to a reviewer or somebody at headquarters. But are they really going to tell us that? This is why I just stay out of challenge caches because it's just way too much for me.
Well, and there is a lot to challenge caches, but I think at some point you have to find new goals and stuff, and that's one of the ways to do it. You feel like you kind of need to find a new goal, and you search for challenges, and my caching this weekend was related to a challenge that I signed like a year ago.
And that's great. I just haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah. But I think
we're
cool.
not all super pros like Jesse.
Super pros.
He is a superhero, but yeah, he's like the 5/5 finder. He's like
caching professional.
He goes for the difficult stuff, which is cool. I mean,
I found a lot less than a lot of people in my area anyway.
Right, but you found them legitimate, and I know you've got other people that that are legit. There are people out there. There are people out there, and we know that they're out there that claim that they found stuff and they never found them. They drive-by cachers.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying everybody does that, but there are some.
And that's definitely something I can't spend my time worrying about.
No, we can't.
Not even a little bit, because
No.
No,
It's
that's
yeah,
no time for that.
no time. All right, I got one last thing, and we're going to try to wrap up tonight, which was really a lot of fun discussion about this. But I got one last thing from the guidelines. This is the very beginning of their new guidelines, and it says this: we encourage you to find at least 20 geocaches before hiding one. The more variety of geocaches you find, the better you will understand how to create an enjoyable experience for the cachers. Should they have worded that more harshly in the fact, or more difficult in that you have to find at least 20 before you're allowed? Or was it enough to put in there that we encourage you to find at least 20?
Sydney, do you want to go first? You look
Sure. Okay, here's what I think. I personally think that there should be some requirement. I don't know where that line is, because some people might go out and find 10 really awesome caches and know exactly what they want to do and how they want to do it, and they've got the rules figured out at that point. Some people go out and find 100 crappy caches,
Right.
and they don't have it figured out. So
but they think they do.
right, yeah. And I don't know that just putting it in there is going to make any difference. Like we said, most people don't read this. So, and also, I don't want to prevent people from wanting to hide an awesome cache just because they haven't found enough themselves.
Okay.
Because you could have read the rules and have this really awesome idea for a cache, but you haven't found the required amount yet, so you can't hide the cache yet. And I don't want people to give up geocaching and give up on their cool idea just because there's a rule that says they can't hide a cache until blah blah blah.
This is a hard topic, right? Because I go back and forth when we're talking about this one all the time. There's some people that hide great caches, and that's the only part of the game they care about. They really only care about hiding caches. I know there was a guy in my area that did that a while back, and his caches were some of the best in the area. But he was not interested in really going out and finding them. He loved building and creating. He was a super smart guy, and his caches were all favorited by everybody. But he had less finds than
right.
most people. I mean, but his caches were great. However, there should be, maybe if it's even just one, and then the other problem with that is, let's say you keep the 20 and it's mandatory, like they won't even allow you to publish one until then. So 20 traditionals, does that qualify you to how to where I go?
No.
You've never seen one or a letterbox? So is it 20 of every type before you hide them, or what, right? I mean, it's
I'm glad I don't have
hard
to
do that.
Decisions.
yeah. I just want to play the game. I don't have to make that decision. But so, I mean, does finding 20 traditional caches qualify you to, do all that other stuff? So is that even a good litmus test, even if that was mandatory?
I don't know.
I agree. I think it's worded properly. We encourage you to find at least 20 before hiding one. That's all they really can do. Now, and we've talked about before the fact that I don't think you should not be allowed to have a favorite point to put on something unless you've at least found a certain amount. But
it is that way.
You have to have 10 and you have to be premium.
Yeah, but I think it could be even higher than that. But that's that's for another show.
But then I could just run out and find 10 caches on a power trail to get my favorite point, and find a bunch of junk caches just because I wanted another favorite point for something.
Well, and you could fake 20 geocache finds just so you can hide one. You can go, oh, I know what I want to do. I'm just going to go claim that I found these 20 so I can hide one. So yeah, there's ways to circumvent it.
So that, first of all, disclaimer, nobody go do this. I'm just going to bring this question up. If you logged 10 caches and then deleted all your logs, would you get a favorite point and keep it, or would it disappear?
I think you keep it.
So
I don't know. That's a good question.
The only reason I asked that is because they may have fixed it now, but I logged early on. I logged a cache. I found a bunch of caches in one day. It was like not a bunch, I mean like 6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was logging them and I was typing them in because I'd written down the numbers or typed down the numbers. So I just doing the logs real quick. Well, I accidentally switched one of the numbers in the logs, and all of a sudden I got this souvenir from some weird, some other country.
Yeah.
And I went in and deleted it. I was like, what? I deleted it, but you can't delete the souvenir. So now
they have to get rid of it.
I didn't earn, and there's no way to get rid of it because I've been trying to delete it. So I just hid it on my profile so it doesn't look like I'm claiming something I've never been to.
Mm-hmm.
This has happened before. Okay, so Glenn, I think Glenn did the same thing. He mixed up some numbers when I was telling him GC codes to log, and he logged a cache in England. And we didn't know for months until I was like looking through his souvenirs. I'm like, why do you have a UK souvenir on your profile? And then I went and looked for that day, and
telling me. Where have you been?
He logged a cache in England somewhere, and I was like, how did this happen? But then we deleted the log, but then, like you said, the souvenir is still there.
Yeah.
You have to email HQ and say, I logged this cache by mistake. Can you please take this off?
I bet they wouldn't even answer that.
They took it off of his when we asked. So.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to email them about mine then, because it's like somewhere in Canada I haven't been. And I like, I joke about the souvenirs a lot, but I kind of like them. So I don't want to have one on there that's not true.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, I'll do that. They're gonna go. This was like 5 years ago, dude. What are you just now? I didn't know. Sydney told me. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You tell them that.
But I wonder if now somebody's gonna go do it and they're gonna blame it on us too. But like if somebody logged a bunch of caches or just fake logged in a cache and deleted it and logged it and deleted it, if their favorite points total would go up. Somebody
probably.
Tell us.
No. No.
Just kidding. Don't do that. You'll probably get kicked out of geocaching if you do that.
Right. We'll report you.
Yeah, they boot you for doing something like that. But I just wonder if
they boot your sock puppet account, right? Your sock puppet account can no longer. Oh, fine, take it. What do I care?
It'd have to be premium though, so you'd have to pay the money to find out.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try that.
No, I'm not doing that. Please, nobody do that. Please, nobody get kicked out. That's listening. Don't do that. Just thought about it.
Just don't do it. All right, Jesse. Final thoughts.
So we didn't get to virtuals tonight, which is unfortunate. But I think this is interesting. We thought we were going to kind of graze. I mean, just zoom through this because we'd already talked about it. But it's the rules of the game we play. And good or bad, I think geocaching is definitely making some good improvements to the game. And I know we got kind of down a little bit on them for a while because there was nothing happening. Then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened behind the scenes for sure, but I think it's our show pretty much. But
we're the show of records. So.
Although History Cache is just throwing it out there, but they've done some good things lately, and they're moving in the right direction. And I know we all wanted to move faster, but just the discussions we had, we didn't even think we were going to take long, and they have to have them that affect millions of people. So I want on a positive note, I want to say they're doing some good things right now. We're seeing some more improvements than we've seen in a long time.
That's true.
These new guidelines.
Sydney?
I would agree with everything Jesse said. It seems to me that they are doing a lot as of late to, whether people like it or not, to make things better. And the only thing I'll say is that this is a group of, probably a handful of people, like less than 50 or something, I think. And they're working to make decisions for people that are in the 3 million geocachers out in the world. So just because they're trying to make the best decisions possible, they can never make the right decision that everybody wants. So they're trying to make sure they have the best, the best ideas and everything, but no one's ever going to be 100% pleased. So just keep in mind that they are working very hard and they're trying to take people's feedback, but and like with these guidelines, they're trying to make it clear and concise. But when you have the pressure of 3 million people reading these, or 2 million or whatever that actually read it, you're going to get a lot of critiques, and that probably makes people very nervous thinking about, what am I going to get said? What's going to get said on the internet about this? And all that. So it's important these are real people behind the scenes. So it's important to try and put yourself in their shoes, I think, looking out, making these decisions.
Yep. No, I agree. Very good. Yeah, we unfortunately didn't get to virtual. We're going to get to virtuals very soon. I did want to make a note. I did talk to Rock Chalk, who we had on the show way back when the show started, and Chris is going to be on the show soon. We're trying to work out. Tonight would have been really tough for him to get on. We were trying to have him on for this show, but he wants to be on. It wasn't like he was like avoiding us. He wasn't doing that. He was it just would have been very difficult to have him on tonight, but we'll try to have him on soon. Maybe we'll have him on for the same night as we do the virtual. It'd be kind of a fun thing to have him on and talk about things at HQ again. Fascinating to have him on. He's really a good guest to have on to talk about things. So he'll be on soon. So coming up on the show, next week we're going to talk about show number 70. We're going to talk about geocaching with GC Droid, and we're going to have Stefan on the show. This will be interesting because none of the three of us use Droid. We're all Cachely iOS people, but we understand the Droid users. They're out there. We know them. We all have friends that have Droids, and they're out there. So we're going to talk about GC Droid, all the good things they're doing, because it's a really good app. In 2 weeks, we're going to have on Ron Smith, a.k.a. Johnny Cash, talk about his vlog and other things. It'll be kind of fun to talk to Ron, have him on the show. And then in 3 weeks, Joshua White's going to be on the show. He is now the new owner of X-Tags, and he'll tell us the whole story about how X-Tags was about to die and how he saved X-Tags from the brink of death as a company, and talk about what he's doing now with X-Tags and where it's going, and all the exciting things. I got to talk to him last week and in person when I was at the Muncie Bash, and we had a great discussion. So really looking forward to talking to Joshua and hearing about all the cool stuff that he's doing with that company. So we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at geocachetalk. I am at Gary Slinkard, one word. Jesse is at Memphis_Mafia. Sydney is at ShermanatorGC. And our Facebook is at facebook.com/geocachetalk. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, many other spots like that, as well as the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button below so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Go read the rules fully and then go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.